Greetings, guys. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. And I literally just woke up, so that's why I sound crazy. And I was thinking about a couple of things already. I was doing some scripting and some automatic writing, and so some things were kind of coming in to teach about. And what did I watch last night? I'm trying to think of what triggered this for me, but it was some movie. But what I was thinking about is authenticity in breakups, right? So this is actually not about what I've been talking about lately. This is about another breakup and something else. And it wasn't toxic or dramatic or anything. It was actually one of the best ones. And this is why I wanted to share this, because I think this might be important information for somebody. Years ago, I was dating a Unitarian pastor, and her name was, we'll call her Kelly. Okay. So I was dating this Unitarian pastor named Kelly, and we were really actually just dating in the truest sense of the word. And maybe for about a couple of months, and we even went on a couple of little mini trips together. That's my love language, y'all. I do love a little mini trip. So we spent some time together and had a lot in common. And I was a chef at the time, and she hired me as a personal chef to make her meals. And as she was doing some special, diet and whatever, and she didn't want to have to like do all the cooking. And this is before all the meal service kits and things like that existed. So we were friends first, and she knew of me and whatever and what I did, but she hired me, and then we spent time around each other, and then, schmoozy schmoozy, you know how that goes. And it was nice. Here's the deal, though. She was older than me, which was kind of my jam at the time. And in its own way still is. I much prefer people older than me for a myriad of reasons I have never understood. But to each his own. We all love how we love, right? So in any case, she was someone who was a was very sweet and caretakery. And I remember, I think I threw my 30th birthday. She had a great house and all that stuff, and I threw my third she invited me to throw my 30th birthday there at our house. So I did a whole like Moroccan theme, and we sat on the floor like the tables, and billowed tents from the ceiling. And I'm not exaggerating, guys, I made a 15-course meal for about 20 of my most intimate friends. And I decided it was a great idea to cook at my own birthday, which was a disaster, with my mama by my side. A great night, a great memory. But the thing about it is a few days after I did the birthday party, she sat me down and had the talk with me. So we were actually talking about the birthday and how great it was and everything else. And she says, that's been on my mind. And I was watching you that night, and I was watching you with all of your friends, because it was the first time she had met. Like, obviously, all of my friends had like swarmed her house for this party. So for this dinner party. And she was really sweet. And she was just like, the thing about it is it occurred to me that there are things that we don't have in common. And I was at a time in my life, if I must be honest, where I was really looking to just be anchored, right? I didn't really know who I was fully. I was just coming into myself, I was still in the midst of my first Saturn return, which I've taught about on this channel. Is a very pivotal time frame in your life where we really come of age. It's like being 18, except actually universally, that's when we all come of age. 28 and a half to about 30, 31, 32. And we grow up, and major changes happen. And major changes happened for me. Literally, I met my husband. In fact, yeah, I think I met my husband actually around my birthday. He was someone that I ran into at an after party after that birthday. And so that's the energy of magical Saturn returns. They shift you completely, right? So for the previous 10 years, I had dated women primarily. Um, so isn't that interesting how life happens? So, all right. As we went into this conversation. She was really gentle and kind, and she had said she loved to watch birds. That was one of her hobbies, and she took me to do it a few times. And she had asked me, and she was like, "Hey, is this something you'd like to do?" And I, not being fully grounded in myself, yes, even at 30, late bloomer, I wasn't fully grounded in myself, and I was like, "Sure, like let's go take a look." I grew up in the Keys. I was a tree ranger, so I'm like, I love nature. I went to John Penny camp. I'm totally in. I've climbed through mangroves. So I can do this, right? I can do this. Well, I did it and it was fine. It wasn't anything, extraneous. However, it wasn't exactly anything that I specifically loved. I was just doing that thing we do when we're dating someone. We're like, yeah, sure. Like, I'm gonna go watch birds with you, but it wasn't my thing to do. And I think we went to like a Latin club in Miami, um, to in the Castro district down in Fort Lauderdale, actually not Miami, and which is like the gay pride district down there. And we were dancing or whatever, and she was just kind of like observing the way that I was and how I was in the bar and all that stuff. And I was very normal, and we were like by each other's side. But she didn't want to necessarily do something that I maybe did, or vice versa. So we were actually taking note of each other's differences, which I thought that I could override, right? I thought I could override it because what I wanted was, dun dun dun, let's tell the truth, a relationship. I didn't necessarily want her. And that is the truth that I think a lot of us don't say. And I think a lot of us not saying that is why I have a lot of the clients that come my way. It's not because we all don't struggle in relationships trying to find real compatibility. Uh, mm, but it is an energy to me where sometimes we are failing to clearly see compatibility and connection. Sometimes we think we can make something work, and most of the time that's a terrible idea. So anyway, back to Kelly. When she sits me down to talk to me, that's the negative truth that she drops in my ear. So she says, I just don't want to raise anyone. And I know that to anybody listening that may sound mean, but I love when people shoot straight from the hip. If someone has a yes and it's a yes, let it be that. And if your no is a no, even if I don't like it, I respect it because I get it. And also, I work better that way. I don't do subterfuge and games and bullshit. That's a trigger for me. So I rather just someone be like, this is it, or this is not it. And that's just much easier for me to deal with. Personally, everybody has their own preference. Some people love to swim in seas of deception. That's not my situation. However, with Kelly, it wasn't hers either. And I was really, really grateful. And she was like, sweetie, this has kind of been like a magical thing. You popped into my life and we were going to carnivals and we're kind of doing little things together. And it's been so exhilarating and so exciting. But she was like, I'm tired. And she was like, you have this whole vibrant life and everything like that. And she was like, and I love travel too, and she does. She's an avid traveler. And she said, but I want someone that wants to go bird watching with me, and I want someone, and she went into her other things. And she wasn't wrong. She wasn't wrong at all. It was the nicest breakup I've ever had in my life. And we still stayed friends after. It wasn't weird at all because we weren't in love at all. And um, we were in like, and she told me in that moment that she was definitely in infatuation with the idea that this younger person was interested in her. And so we both were doing, and this will be done a lot in relationships, we were mirroring one another. We both were doing the same thing. She liked the idea of me, and I liked the idea of her. We didn't like each other. Message. We didn't like each other. What we were doing was both tethering ourselves to one another out of filling a void, out of codependencies. And actually, she was much healthier, clearly, than me. But we both got caught up in it for a second. And it was the first time that I was like, oh, dating is going to shift and things in my life are going to get serious. Kelly was an omen, a precursor for me about having really been in my first Saturn return and growing up, because I realized in that moment that in order to wrangle in a healthy relationship, there has to actually be love. Excuse me, guys. Chloroseptic break. There has to actually be love. And that's something that throughout the whole dating relationship with her, she taught me. I felt like we were on an episode. It was like a blend of either it was Sex in the City and the L Word. That was our life. A lot of fun dating, a lot of interesting people. She had this Brazilian lesbian couple that was like fascinating to me, and just a lot of interesting, diverse energies. And we traveled to go do all of her church business meetings and meet all these people that ran the city, and it was a fun experience for me. She told me a fun experience for her, but we weren't really into each other, and that was okay. We liked spending time around each other, and we liked conversation, and we liked going to play, but that was about it. Now, years later, she friend requested me on Facebook, and I accepted because we had no animosity whatsoever, right? She moved away not long after that breakup. That was another thing that was happening. She was taking an offer for a job she had manifested. She also taught me a lot about manifestation and Dianetics and all that stuff, which, we all can get into the controversy regarding that. Anything with Ron L. Hubbard is a shenanigan. However, oh my gosh. She, you know, had studied all of that. She was actually a theologian, and that's what she went to college for. So she'd studied all of that stuff, really, truly, in all myriads of religions. And so she opened me up to that manifestation. I remember her once saying to me that she was fantastic at manifesting. I hadn't gotten that good yet. She was kind of funny and sarcastic in her own way, but she wasn't wrong, right? She taught me a lot. She didn't even understand what I did. It's funny, years later, she discovered one of the sites that I freelance for, and she reached out to me and she was like, "Wow, you really stuck with it, and look at you now." I was like, "I know," because she had talked to me about that, and with her religious beliefs, she didn't believe in what I did per se. She couldn't parse it, but she just thought it was like a little hobby, like, and at the time it was. But God, right? If you have a destiny, you have a destiny. But back to her, friend requesting me. So she's married, and when she moved up there, she literally manifested. We talked about it because we were friends by the time she moved. It was all within a span of maybe a couple months that played out after we broke up, that she moved. And so she was said, like, "I'm gonna go up here, I'm gonna manifest this, and I'm gonna manifest a wife." And it wasn't one of those mean, like, "Oh, why is she talking to me about that?" Because when you know that you were just both trying to anchor yourselves to each other for your own weird reasons, there's no drama. It was not any game playing. It was actually kind of normal. So she's like, "I'm gonna manifest this job, and I'm gonna manifest this wife." She manifested the job and she manifested the wife, and they travel the world together, and she is exactly who Kelly should be with. When I see the pictures, it makes me smile with my heart, and it made me manifest with my solar plexus and with my root chakra. From the grounded place, the root chakra, solar plexus, self-esteem, heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye, and crown chakra, hitting all of them except for the sacral chakra, which is interesting that I didn't mention that, which is our sexuality and creativity. The reason that I mentioned all of them but the sexual energy, that's not my issue. And usually the people I'm attracted to, it's not theirs either. But I have done the thing where I've shut down those other places. A lot of us have no issue with our sacral chakra. That's what precipitates the hookup culture that we exist in, right? So yeah, we will fuck anybody, but do we know that we like them and that we're actually compatible with them? Message. Songs like "I Always Fall for Your Type" and or Drake's "Trust Issues" don't exist without the lessons that sometimes we're dealing with people we know we shouldn't be with. Okay? Y'all, we know we shouldn't be with. Now, this wasn't toxic. You guys have heard me talk about a lot of, like, a lot, as Zoe would say, a whole lot of. However, this was really healthy. She did exactly. It was like a masterclass for dating and breaking up. We never fell in love or any of that. stuff, but the part that we did do was an integral teaching moment for me to know what it is to have fun and actually, explore and date somebody and actually get to live in a higher vibration where I was manifesting some things because travel's one of my love languages and little trips with your person that matters a lot to me. This was something I got to taste all of the goodness of it because in your 20s you're trying to put hodgepodge things together, or you're in your serial monogamy phase and you're just like, I'm having one person after another and I'm not really dating them. That's what I encourage a lot of my clients to do, is date and see if someone's actually right for you. I once had a guy that I dated when I lived in Alabama, and he said to me, "We don't date to find a mate." He said, "Do you notice the way that people date? Something about they're not dating to find a mate; they're dating to mate immediately, and you're supposed to be finding a mate." And it's all played out for us on Animal Channel, right? Um, and or on the Animal Planet. It's the whole dating and mating dance. There are if like I was watching these beautiful birds and they were mating and they're offering themselves to the right mate that catches their attention. And there is a bevy of suitors. A lot of us are just like, yoink, this is a relationship. I'm just going to make it work. And you don't even know if this person is right. And that's my point. Take time to see if their light matches your light, or if their dark matches your dark. That can be a thing too. We all have had a couple of those relationships. I know I have, boo. I've had a couple of my dark matches their dark in the best way, or in we've had some. Okay, that's what this channel has become about. And we will evolve, I promise you. Thank you for your patience. But me working out a toxic, the dark didn't match the dark, and the dark was triggering AF, and I had to run for my life. We all have had, if you've lived long enough, you've had a couple of three of relationships similar to me. Okay? So that is what I wanted to chat with you about. Good breakups that make me smile. Like, every you hear me, there's not like you. If you've watched any of my other videos, you could tell the difference. I have not a zero drop of anything but admiration and love that this person was such a beautiful teacher in my life, because at the end of the day, that's what she was. And at the end of the day, that's what a lot of the relationships in your life are there to do. They are simply there to teach you, not for you to be with them forever. And I think a lot of us get out of pocket because we think we should be in a situation with someone forever, and it's not supposed to be so. Chloroseptic break. Pardon me, guys. Still recovering. It's not supposed to be so. Okay? We are not supposed to be in a place where we're stagnant and we can never grow. What Kelly did for me was she freed me, and she taught me this masterclass, which is about compatibility. I was just anchoring myself to her because I was unmoored and my life was in a weird in between place. And also, I was on the edge of change. You know, I literally met my husband the same time I was dating her. I was dating her and beginning to date him because we were openly dating and having healthy relationships. She was just a healthy moment in my life where I did everything right. I was honest with people. She was honest with me. I was dating a few people at the time. Okay, up to three. Yes, me. We had our moments. It was my 20s, my late 20s, and I was very much maturing and enjoying myself. But my husband won. He's the one that I want. It's the one, apparently. This is the life partner that I was assigned in my Akashic records. Just to, you guys have heard me talk about that, but I don't just talk about this and teach it here. I live it. So it just was what it needed to be, but it was a powerful lesson for me about not staying stuck in something just because you need uh, a place to be. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's the part that really struck me about Kelly, is that she wouldn't allow herself, she had self-respect, to just be a place to be. And what I mean by that is, I could have shacked up with her or the rest of it. She actually did ask me to move in with her. So it wasn't like we didn't shack for a second, because we did. But what happened was we were just really clear about the freedom and boundaries, because I was still dating. I was still doing stuff like that. And she wanted a wife. I wasn't ready at that time to be a wife. I didn't marry my husband till later. So I still had some, stuff to work out and some oats to sow. And she knew it. And I respected her for that. I respected her for teaching me about me. Because she was like, have you looked at you lately, ma'am? You also are not exactly what you think that I want. You just want a thing and I want a thing. What are we wanting really? Super healthy. Good stuff, right? So it's important to know if you are wanting to raise someone. Sometimes when you're doing that work and you're examining that, you may decide that it may be more trouble than it's worth. If you have to fully, especially as we're talking specifically about same-sex couples, initiating and teaching and all of that stuff can be fantastic. If there's eager people that are like participating and wanting to be part of that and whatever the case is. What I mean is that's another component that I don't know if anybody here that's listening is heterosexual, then you may not understand. There's a whole nother thing that happens with same-sex dating regarding feeling out and figuring out, is somebody going to be in alignment, and are we understanding each other, and if someone's new to something, if she saw me as new, not to that lifestyle but just new to her level of being or dating, do you have the time to teach them? And even though she was a teacher, a pastor, and I am a teacher, a practitioner, she didn't want to teach me, and I wasn't really a willing pupil, and she knew it. I just love the energy of it. And sometimes you have to assess that. There have been people that I have dated in my life where I have assessed, like, God, oh my God, yeah, they're attracted or I'm attracted, but it just seems like there's going to be a huge learning curve. And my patient ass, if my patient ass is like, I don't know. It's too much. It's too many different variables to try to figure out. Then sometimes you disembark and figure out a different way to go. And I think that that's just an honest conversation to have with yourself. Are you interested in even kind of teaching somebody? Is somebody willing to learn? Is someone willing? Is someone supposed to be at your vibration? I think they're just important questions to ask. And if so, then let it burn. But you don't have to necessarily let it burn in a toxic Eminem and Rihanna way. I'm going to stand there and watch you cry, burn the house down, set the whole house on fire, as he says. I mean, poor Eminem. God bless him. God bless his Libra heart. Partnership is all he wants. And that's just, he needs all the therapy like we all do. But in any case, guys, um, she let it burn, but it didn't burn me alive. In fact, the burning that she did illuminated me. She didn't want to raise me. I don't blame her. I have had relationships where I've looked at people and I'm like, I don't want to raise you. I don't want to raise you anymore. I don't want to raise you initially. If you're not into me or you're not into this or you can't figure it out or you don't want to have like grown up conversations or you're intimidated or insecure, it's okay to be all those things, but communication fixes all of that. And even in our situation where we didn't have compatibility, but maybe some boredom on a hot summer, um, I'm hearing a need to feel the thunder. I can't sing this morning. Don't make me. Thunder in the skies. Watch a storm with all its wonder raging in your lover's eyes. Something something. I think it's a Garth Brooks song. I'm gonna see if I can link it below. But it's about a summer romance, and it's a May December romance, which would have been what we were as well with our age difference. But it's about that moment and just kind of reliving that. In any case, maybe that song will have some special meaning for someone here. It's sometimes you need companionship, but don't settle in things that aren't really worth it. Yeah, and don't be afraid to let him down easy. Sometimes you gotta let him down easy, and it might hurt their feelings for a little bit, but man, probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And I respect her immensely for it. And be that person if you're in a breakup where someone can walk away and be like, man, they really did try to talk to me. They were really clear with me. They didn't play any games. That's what we all want, and that's what we say anyway. But when we find ourselves in situations and we don't understand what's going on, we find ourselves sometimes resorting to playing games. And I don't like that. That doesn't mean I haven't done it or that I am perfect. What it does mean is that as I've evolved and grown up, I've realized that Kelly's way was truly the best way. Straight, eye to eye, face to face. I feel all of these things for you. Because I've also used her method in the positive to just be like, this is how I feel. Straight up. I don't play any games. And also in the negative when I was more immature. And before I'd even met Kelly, I was using the more negative method. I think we all have been ingratiated to regarding playing games and not dealing with it because you're scared and you don't want to be embarrassed and whatever. Be brave. You're finding a mate or someone to spend the rest of your life with or someone to spend a chunk of your life with. Vet them. And if you can't have a conversation and talk about openly attraction, sexuality, and or whether or not compatibility exists or are we doing this, then that's someone you might have to raise. And then you'll have to decide if that's how you want to spend the rest of your days. All right, guys. So good chatting with you on this gravelly voice morning. I got my full Rachel Ray A. So I love you guys so much. Let them down easy. Come back and join me next time, and we will continue to evolve together.